The bar for Ocarina of Time ROM hacks is so high right now that it's kinda ridiculous. It feels like only a few years ago that we were still in the stage of scouring the net for the right version of the Master Quest debug ROM just to play a mod with a relatively simple new dungeon that could be beaten in 2 hours. And I want to clarify that I don't mean any disrespect. Without those early ROM hacks, we would not be where we are today. As with the mainstream gaming industry, how there would be no Tears of the Kingdom if it had not been for the original Zelda on the NES. It's all about the stepping stones. Early this month, I reviewed a ROM hack called Sealed Palace, and that game was so unbelievably incredible that it blew my balls off to the moon, and the second I got them back, this new demo for Indigo came out and blew them all the way back, so yeah, I just had to talk about it. Just out of respect for my balls. Now if the name Indigo sounds familiar, it should. Back in my December marathon, I spoke about the first demo. This was an incredibly impressive demo. It had new weapons, new boss programming, new enemies, and a new dungeon. It was setting up a completely new narrative and world, and I couldn't wait to see where it would end up. It's still far from completion, but this new demo I just got done playing is somehow leaps and bounds ahead of the previous one. The amount of improvements and developments they have made is astonishing, and based on what we can see today, the game will undoubtedly be one of the best Ocarina mods ever created. It sounds like I'm hyping it up a lot here, but that is not an exaggeration. When it's finished, I swear it could pass for something official, and could be a genuine sequel to Majora's Mask. And no, I'm not just saying that because my name is in the special thanks section, but I just want whoever put it in there to know that this made me immensely happy and I will never forget it. In the first demo, we got some hints about the story, but this time we've learned a hell of a lot more. The game follows Link after the events of Majora's Mask. Instead of searching for Navi like he was at the beginning of Majora, he instead finds himself searching for Tattle, who accompanied him through Termina. Link, now 15 years older and wiser and with a deeper voice than ever before, settled into an isolated life in the land of Valana when Tails seeks him out to help him find his lost sister in this new mysterious land. The first thing you're gonna notice about this ROM hack is the presentation. Dude. These graphics are the best graphics in the entire world. There are so many graphics in this game that I can't even count them all. It doesn't even look like Ocarina of Time anymore. It barely even looks like a Nintendo 64 game at all at this point. This looks even better than Majora's Mask. The textures are surprisingly rich. Link's character model has been hugely updated. There are new models for enemies that look impeccably good for an N64 title. The atmosphere in this game is nearly flawless. Every single area and scenario is magnificently brought to life with ultra-detailed set pieces and environmental effects. Except the placeholder areas, but those don't count. Horror. No OoT mod is complete without horror, and this game just grand slams it out of the park with open graves, dreadful purple fog, some kind of up Wolfos experiment, and right when you think you've seen it all, the game spawns a crackhead re-dead in a pitch black hallway that you've already been through, and he eats 70% of your health bar in a split second. The attention to detail with respect to the new set pieces, symbols, lore, characters, and narrative is absolutely ridiculous. There is so much work put into every corner of this game to the point that, although it wears its influences on its sleeves, it is still an uncompromisingly new thing. And the music is just incredible. You can hear references here and there, but on the whole, it is very much its own beast. The visuals and storytelling are definitely in the highest tier that exists, but the real game-changing element of this hack is all the new equipment and items. These are the types of things that aren't there in the average OoT mod. The boomerang has been dramatically upgraded such that it's actually somewhat reliable in combat. The aiming system for the bow and arrow has been vastly improved so that it's not a piece of shit garbage like the original game. And that's just the existing weapons that were improved. You literally get a ball and chain equivalent in this game, except it's an anchor for a boat and you can just smash the out of enemies and it's incredible. The Scardita tokens get you actually helpful items in this game, and not just wallet upgrades and heart pieces, but also the Rock's Feather and the Pegasus boots. The Rock's Feather makes platforming way more fun and opens the door to experimentation, and the Pegasus boots are the only way to travel. How can you go back to walking like a normal person after this? There's also the lamp from Twilight Princess that lets you light torches and slap enemies with fire like these sentient candles that look like they came out of a Disney cartoon. The huge variety of new items and toys and dungeons and worlds and enemies is, as a tremendously curious gamer, incredible, because I never knew what was going to happen next. Much like the older Zelda games, this is not the type of game, at least so far, that tries to actively prevent you from going the wrong way, which means it's easy to get lost in several rabbit holes on your way to the main quest, which was a great thing, because there's almost always something interesting going on. Like I found a minigame where you use the Pegasus boots to run around a map in a time limit. This is insane, you're literally drifting around corners like a madman. There was mystery and enchantment to a level that far exceeds most ROM hacks because there are so many fundamentally new things that were not present in the base game. As a reviewer on a time limit, however, there was so much content in this game that it was actually a little distressing. And as a result, I only got a 71% completion on my file, which means that there is still a huge wealth of content in the game that I haven't shown you, which should alleviate any concerns of spoiling the entire thing. That's the most tragic thing about these marathons. In the interest of keeping pace, I sometimes end up missing a lot of stuff, but this game charmed me so heavily that I'll definitely be revisiting this game as many times as necessary. I think the exact moment I fully realized I was playing a very different kind of Zelda game than I'm used to was this mini boss fight with the Moblin, and like a complete dumbass, I didn't think to look for a shield before doing this first dungeon, so I just had the sword. Now in the original game, mini bosses were pretty simple, they were very forgiving, and pretty much once you learned the puzzle, as it were, you had the boss beat. This was very different. This was a 100% mono-a-mono fight to the death. There is no secret strategy. Well, you can stun him with the boomerang, but I didn't know that. He rushes you down, he's got this jump stab move, there's bombs all over the place, and the second you hurt him, he does this spin move that kicks your ass if you don't instantaneously backflip. You have to study attack patterns, stay completely on nerve, and have pure gamer reflexes to dodge at the perfect time and space yourself so you can punish him, and I am trying so goddamn hard not to say the words Dark Souls, but that really was what I was thinking when I was fighting this guy. I felt like this game on the whole is actually quite a bit more challenging than your average OoT hack. There are a shitload of beginners traps and enemies that can just demolish you really quickly if you're off your game. Look at this big worm guy, look what he does to you. I think that actually is from Dark Souls. And then there's this part where some mechanism in the walls just shoots arrows at you out of nowhere. Okay, this isn't funny anymore. The heightened difficulty may feel a little obtuse and punishing if you were going into this not expecting all the new stuff, but at the same time, you usually have enough tools at your disposal to conquer anything the game throws at you. The overworld is incredibly exciting, prodding your imagination with all these little things that you don't know what to do with until you get the anchor weapon that lets you smash through stuff like a crazy person. I have seen more new and original content in this unfinished demo than I could ever have imagined was gonna be there. Playing this game was like going on a roller coaster of bomb-ass ROM hacking bliss. There's even a part where the game turns into a 2.5D platformer and I'm shooting down enemies out of the air like it was some kind of Castlevania shit. I did a quest for this lady and then I learned that they're planning on implementing an elaborate sword upgrading system. There's a tower defense mission with snapdragons that try to eat cuckoos and you get a horse that can jump on command. There are just so many things that I couldn't spoil it all even if I did find it all. So don't ask me how I feel about this game because you already know. They didn't raise the bar, they brought it into the stratosphere, and if you don't play this game right now, you're going to jail. I am just so floored by this game that I don't even know what tomorrow's game is gonna be. Maybe like Mario Land or something.